Today, it's Sweet Home Alabama for Elaine Youngs and Rachel Wacholder. At the last AVP stop in Atlanta, the Olympic bronze medalist and her feisty partner Rachel Wacholder upset the #1 team in the world, Olympic gold medalist Misty May Traynor and Carrie Walsh. Now for the tough part. May and Walsh have never lost 2 AVP Opens in a row. Will today's women's final be a historic event, or can the top team in the world regain their winning form? The exciting 2006 women's final of the AVP Birmingham Hoover Open is now. If now were 1994, the greatest basketball player ever would be playing baseball for the Birmingham Barons here at the Hoover Metropolitan Stadium. And, of course, baseball here in Birmingham has great tradition. It looks like this. But this weekend, we host the greatest volleyball players in the world, and that is center court on the infield here in beautiful Hoover, Alabama, as we welcome you to the 2006 AVP Crocs Tour Women's Final. And in the Women's Final, well, guess what? There's a change. And to officially meet our participants here to see who will reign supreme in Birmingham, the veteran voice of the AVP. Here is Chris Skeeter-McGee.
Roll Tide! Here we go, the introduction to our 4 players playing in the final. This young lady grew up in Northern California. She went to the University of Minnesota, where she was an All-American. Last year she joined the AVP Tour, and she was voted by her peers the Rookie of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, she is looking for her first ever win. Say hello to Nicole Branagh. She is ready, she just told me. What about her partner, ladies and gentlemen? She grew up as a youngster in Manhattan Beach, California. She went to Miracosta High School. Since the day she was born, everybody knew she would be a legend. She is the winningest player of all time in the history of the AVP Tour. 72 Open wins, a 3-time Olympian, and a bronze medalist. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a privilege to introduce to you Holly McPeak, partner. And here they come, the #1 team in the world. Are you ready for them? She grew up in Northern California, ladies and gentlemen. She went to Stanford University, a 4-time first-team All-American, a 2-time national champion, a 2-time MVP of the AVP. She's a super freak, Carrie Walsh Jennings. Now a partner. Grew up in Newport Harbor High School in Orange County, Southern California. She went to Long Beach State University. In 1998, she was the NCAA Female Athlete of the Year and a national champion. She has 61 open wins in her career. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, say hello to the MVP of the AVP, Misty May Traynor.
Well, we know Misty knows a little bit of something about the game of baseball. Her husband, Matt Traynor, of course, a catcher with the Florida Marlins. Speaking of catching, St. John Smith is caught up with Holly McPeak and Nicole Branagh. They're down on the sand.
Holly, you've seen this team many, many times. You've seen them in the finals this year already. What do you have to do differently? I know that serving gets them in trouble. Do you have any plans for serving?
Well, it starts on our side of the net. We need to set a little bit off the net and keep Walsh out of the game. And yes, we need to put pressure on them defensively. That starts with a tough serve. That starts with Nicole getting in their face and me digging some balls.
Now, Nicole, this is your second final. You're a veteran now. Do you feel good going into this final?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot the first one, and we just need to play our game and focus, and we've been playing great this tournament, so just stick to our game.
Well, good luck to the both of you. Now over to Mary with Carrie and Misty.
Thanks, St. John. Carrie, I know the loss in Atlanta is still on your mind, and you had a pretty rough road this weekend as well. What switched for you as a team?
You know, Atlanta, it sucks losing, and it's just, I've been festering on it, and today, we lost last night to Nettie and Jenny, and we had 2 games, we were ahead both games, and we gave it away. But today we kind of reevaluated. I need to play a little less emotionally, because we can come back from any points we're down, and if we're up, we can keep going. So, we're confident, we're excited, and we're breathing.
And, Misty, you're such a great team. What specifically do you have to focus on as a team to win this match?
I think, my siding out, Carrie's been putting up very good sets, and I got to concentrate on siding out. But I think our serving is a key. In the game against why in Rachel I thought we served very well, got them in trouble. So I think serving for us and just a good played volleyball on our side is going to be key.
And you can't lose in the baseball stadium. Matt wouldn't be very happy with you.
I know.
Well, good luck out there, ladies. Mike?
I'll tell you what, yeah, that would be a bad thing for the Trainer family. But you know what? They're the favorites, and the underdogs, Nicole Branagh and Holly McPeak, were somewhat embarrassed with their finals appearance in Sacramento. They think they've got a lot more to go up against the #1 team in the world here today. Carrie Walsh, Misty May looking for another open win. The 2006 AVP Crocs Tour Birmingham Hoover Open is being brought to you by Crocs, nowhere close to normal. By refreshingly smooth Bud Light, always worth it. By Nautica, navigate life. And as always, the AVP Tour reminds you to vive responsibly. We welcome you back to center court here in the Hoover Metropolitan Stadium as we are set for the AVP Crocs Tour Birmingham Hoover Open, the women's final, presented by Volt, and it should be a great one. Hi again, everybody. Mike Goldberg, Karch Garai here at center court. And Karchi, you know, Misty May, Carrie Walsh seemed to dominate the world for a while. Then they were knocked off the perch. They were knocked down again last week. They even lost last night. Is this team actually human?
Somewhat human, if 48-3 is human, but they already have 3 losses this year. That's not many, the same as all of last year. But what's really shocking is they had to play a match in what we call the contenders or losers bracket. These are double elimination tournaments. You can lose once and still play your way back through. They haven't played a losers bracket match since Labor Day of 2004. So they don't even know what that's like, but they won that match, and they're right back to the final. I think it woke them up, and Nicole Branagh and Holly McPeak are going to have to watch out because there's like an uncaged animal right now.
Well, with that contenders bracket run, they eliminated their arch nemesis, Rachel Wacholder and Elaine Youngs, in the semifinals. Now they face Holly McPeak, the greatest of all time, and Nicole Branagh, a rematch of Sacramento. And honestly, Nicole would be the first to admit, in that first final of her career, she was extremely nervous.
She was, and she talked about learning from that and trying to control her emotions and not allow the distractions. And a stadium full of people. She's not used to playing on center court, usually on the outside courts where there's a much smaller crowd. She had a lot of family out in Sacramento. That won't be a distraction either. So I think she's going to have a much better final than she did in Sacramento here.
Well, partner Annette Davis, Jenny Johnson-Jordan have already defeated May and Walsh this weekend. Could McPeak and Branagh be next? Let's see if they do, how they would, as St. John Smith navigates the match, brought to you by Nautica.
Well, let's take a look at Misty May Trainer and Carrie Walsh first. What do they have to do? They are so good. The only thing that they can do better, really, is serve tough. That means jump serve. They both have great jump serves. They got to use it, and then they got to take no prisoners. They got to go out and kill every single time. They have the ability to do it. Sometimes they let up, like yesterday. Today, a different story. It's the final. Branagh and McPeak. Nicole, she's got to own the net. She's tall, she's strong, she's got to take over blocking and hitting. Whenever the ball's near the net, block it or hit it. Put it down. And Holly, side out, she's going to get most of the serves. She's got to figure out a way to put the ball in the sand. She's done it for many, many years. If she does it today, she could be victorious.
Well, this will be the 30th time that Holly McPeak faces Misty May and Carrie Walsh. Rules of the game, best 2 out of 3. First 2 games are to 21 points. The third game to 15 points. Rally scoring is in effect, which means there is a point scored on every play, and you must win each game by 2 points. So the third-seeded team of Holly McPeak and Nicole Branagh facing Misty May Trainer and Carrie Walsh, and Misty May to start it off. She will serve first. And the first point of our women's final belongs to Misty May and Carrie Walsh. Well, why all the baseball references? Because her husband is a professional baseball player. She loves prime rib, and I'll tell you what, she would love to be the star of primetime here in Alabama. And as Mary Strong kidded with her, you cannot lose in a baseball stadium because Matt Trainer, her husband, be all over her. Got to defend his turf here. Double hit. Her partner, of course, Carrie Walsh, 2-time Olympian, 2004 gold medalist at Athens with Misty May. She played indoors in 2000, two-time AVP MVP, offensive player in 2003, and 2 NCAA titles. Not a bad career, and it is really just hitting its peak. Branagh finds open court. Holly McPeak, all-time #1, 72 career victories, 28 of those on the AVP Tour. She's won at least one tournament in each year since 1998, except for last year. That was just her second season ever. 37 years old and still going strong. And her partner, Nicole Branagh, was 8 years old in 1987 in Holly McPeak's first season. Last year's Rookie of the Year. And you know what? The former Minnesota Golden Gopher hit the lottery because Holly McPeak said, Nicole, why don't you play with me? And they have gotten better as the season has gotten deeper. In fact, you saw graphically right at the top of the show card how the last 3 tournaments have been outstanding. All Final Fours for McPeak and Branagh. Early, they were much less predictable.
And they're also off to a much better start than they had in Sacramento. They never had the lead in either of those games. They're already up on May and Walsh.
Holly McPeak's 30th AVP match against Misty and Carey. She is 1-29, with that win being a forfeit in 2004. So to say that Holly McPeak is frustrated by the results of her matches, regardless of who her partner is, against May and Walsh would be a great understatement. Branagh with the hammer. Our Bud Light recap. And we'll start with Misty May and Carey Walsh in that uncharacteristic loss prior to making it to the finals.
Well, it's rare that they do anything but win 2-0, and they took care of business easily on Friday, winning their 2 matches. In fact, Walsh was talking about it in this 3-day type of event. They feel like they don't get enough playing. They only played once in the daytime yesterday, winning easily, and then in the night match, losing 2 straight, a very rare loss to Annette Davis and Jenny Johnson-Jordan, but coming right back and firing their way back into the final and eliminating their nemesis, Wacholder and Youngs, who had beaten them in 2 out of the last 4 finals on the AVP Tour.
Holly McPeak, Nicole Branagh make the finals for the 2nd time this season.
Well, McPeak and Branagh had more or less a similar road. Friday, not too much trouble, 2 relatively easy victories. Saturday, a little bit different. They lost to Wacholder and Youngs, but the big day, today, they beat Davis and Jordan, the team that beat Walsh and May. So they're right here. They're right where they want to be. They have a great shot here in the final.
Well, Davis and Johnson-Jordan, that's Annette Davis and Jenny Johnson-Jordan, were the team that actually snapped the 89-match winning streak of Misty May Traynor and Carey Walsh. They finish in 3rd place, as do Rachel Wacholder and Elaine Youngs, champions in Atlanta, our previous event. The Brazilians, Mimi and Tachi, they finish a 5th. Denekashe and Leibel, a very strong showing. And you know what? We're not seeing so much of Jen Boss and Nancy Mason in the Final Four anymore. Frustrating 7th place finish for them. Barbara Fontana and her partner Dodd, they finish in 7th place as well.
Mike, you mentioned earlier about how Holly McPeak is the all-time winningest player in the history of women's beach volleyball with 72 career victories, but somebody's coming up fast behind her in Misty May at 61, and there are more than 11 tournaments to go this year. She could pass her by the end before December of 2006.
Misty May with a 4-win lead on her partner, Carey Walsh, which means Carey needs to win a Vegas or a couple of Vegases where you have the king and queen of the beach, an individual tournament. If not, and the partnership continues, they're just going to continue to move up the ladder together. 5-4, good start, as you mentioned before, for Branagh and McPeak. Much different than the finals in Sacramento, which were extremely lopsided in 21-12, 21-16 scores. May, and it's deep.
And that really wasn't a tough serve. The pass was okay. The set was okay. Misty kind of looked around, and she just made a hitting error, hit it out of bounds. That's not characteristic.
You know, one of the big questions, Karch, coming in to this entire weekend is how does Kerry Walsh react after a loss? Does she rebound right away, or does she let it fester?
Well, she even said she probably felt a little too emotional last night, kind of stomped off and left. It's tough for them because there are so many, especially young girls, who want to come and get their autograph. They're the reigning gold medalists, and there's a lot of obligations that go with being such a great team, and sometimes it just gets a little overwhelming. Wanted to get a little time to herself after that loss.
Well, the one thing I will say in defense of Kerry Walsh, and all of us know it up here, she, Misty May, all our players, but especially Kerry, is so gracious with her time, with every child to the bitter very end. My 8-year-old daughter, Kiera, is in love with Kerry Walsh because she takes the extra time to make everyone feel like they're the only child who ever got a chance to meet the gold medalist.
And she talks about how there is a lot of pressure on them. There are more obligations here in the U.S. They almost like getting to Europe once in a while for a break. There are not, she says it's 100 to 1 the amount of obligations for her on American soil versus outside.
And as we know, though, St. John, because of the popularity of the AVP Crocs Tour, the domestic success, it is still a good problem to have. You'd much rather have it that way than nobody here to seek the autographs.
That's right. But you know what? The people don't realize that these players are very serious about what they're doing. And, you know, they cannot really lead the people. They got to be there. They got to show their face. They got to put on a smile even when they do poorly.
And even when they suffer through bad plays and good plays. You got to smile, you got to try to win, and for May and Walsh, make it another title. Well, we know Bo knows baseball. We also know Bo knows the Barons. It was a short little stint in the minors, but nonetheless, the stud from the Auburn Tigers, War Eagle, baby, brought his Heisman here to play a little baseball, and he played 4 games in 1991 as a member of the Birmingham Barons. Jordan was a few years later in 1994. And I will tell you this, 6 former Barons, this AA club of the Chicago White Sox, were on the big league roster last year when the Chicago White Sox won their first World Series championship in 88 years. Miss hit by Nicole Branagh.
Another what they call a double hit, where one hand hit the ball more than the other one, and the ball came out spinning. It's hard to tell, but nobody argued about that call, so it must have been a mishandled ball. That's better. That's what Holly's going to, we're going to see a lot of that. Bumping the ball up, putting it up there so that Nicole can go up and hammer the ball before the block gets in place.
Even though we have the number 1 seed against the number 3 seed, guys, this is only the 3rd time since the start of the 2001 season the 2 teams from the contenders bracket have played for the title. Amazingly, both with a loss, both here in the finals. Kerry Walsh with a strong finish, 10-7, May Walsh.
Well, it looks like the wind is picked up just a little bit, so May and Walsh are on the good side with the wind in their face.
Hoover Metropolitan Stadium. And a nice cut shot by Holly McPeak. That's her bread and butter.
Absolutely. They have to stick with that. Holly McPeak earlier was trying to run a back set, and Branagh doesn't set that nearly as well. She has great hands, probably some of the best on the women's tour, but it works better for her. She sets much better if she can set in front of her. And McPeak can run her normal offense.
Head-to-head, May trainer Walsh lead the series 5-love over Holly McPeak and Nicole Branagh, a new team who were formed this season. Still very warm on center court here in Birmingham.
Well, it's not over 100.
No, it's just 98.6 with 172% humidity. And a good finish by Nicole Branagh. Branagh appears to be much more comfortable.
Much more comfortable than she was in Sacramento, and she admitted she felt like she had to do so much extra. They had played so well up to that final, but she felt like, well, okay, I'm playing against the best team in the world. I got to do even more. But you can see it already that she's sticking with what got her here, playing under much better control.
The AVP Crocs Tour from Birmingham, Alabama will continue after this. Sports Ultimate Nightly Highlight Show is here. The FSN Final Score. Every great highlight, every unforgettable moment, every night on FSN. It's the only national show that gives you nothing but wall-to-wall highlights. The FSN Final Score. Tonight right here on FSN. Check your local listings for the start time in your area.
Net call.
Net violation. Career open wins. Holly McPeak, 72. Nicole Branagh, 72 less.
Just a bit of a spread there.
She will have a tougher time catching up to Holly McPeak than Carrie Walsh will Misty May. Well, maybe. And Branagh finds open court again.
And what a great hit by Nicole. That set was off the net, and she went up and she kind of turned it over Carrie as she was backing up.
Now remember, there is a ton of nonverbal communication here on the beach. Setting up the defense.
The one in the fist. That means she's going to block the line on Misty.
She did, but Misty avoids the block and gains the point.
Well,
nope, she did not. It makes it 12-12.
She avoided the court also.
Yep.
She hit that ball out of bounds.
So called out 12-12. Holly McPeak, Nicole Branagh, Misty May, Carrie Walsh, game one.
And every time we've seen the right side hitter, whether it's McPeak or May, deciding to come for a back set, they are actually having more trouble with their offense. I think they're better off sticking with their bread and butter, and that is going straight in front of the setter. Coming behind again is May.
And this time, Misty May makes no mistake.
Well, Misty, if you give her 2 tries, she's going to put the second one away. Misty knows the court so well. She uses all of it. And look at this. Right back on the back line. Here it is over the block, deep into the court, right on the back line. It doesn't get any closer.
25th straight AVP final for Misty May and Carrie Walsh. McPeak. And the root by Walsh. That's 5-7 against 6-3.
And McPeak talked about in the interview beforehand with you, Sinjin, I think, saying, I want to keep that set a little far back. That looked a little too close, and Walsh just ate that up.
With Walsh at the net, almost anything is too close.
The leader by 2, just 2 blocks coming into the weekend. The women's leader in blocks, Carrie Walsh over Elaine Youngs. And Walsh and May will earn another point.
And that set was just as close, about a foot and a half off. They might think about taking a timeout, trying to stop the momentum, or adjusting the set, talking about that.
15-12. On 2. Well, that's one way to stop the bleeding. And a big swing there by Nicole Branagh. McPeak and Branagh are right in this game. And here's Mary Strong.
Holly, it seems like you guys are having a little bit of difficulty transitioning out there and creating points for yourselves. What do you need to do to win this game?
Well, it's more of a side-out issue. If we side out, we can keep the pressure on them. But I'm not siding out. I need the ball a little bit off the net to avoid Carrie Walsh.
Yeah, it's a little bit of trouble for you out there right now.
Yeah, I need to pass better so she can give me a little room on my set.
All right, Holly, thanks.
The veteran Holly McPeak, and interesting how she deflected the negativity to herself, saying it starts with my pass, which could lead to a better finish. Take a look at our AVP Crocs Cup standings on the women's side, as this is stop number 9 of 16 here in Birmingham, Alabama. After 8 events, May, Trainer, and Walsh, because they have won 6 of the first 8 events, are clearly your top team. But watch for Branagh and McPeak. They had a little rough start, but they're starting to inch up in the point standings. They will be, by the end of the season, a force to be reckoned with. All right, it's time to get on your phone and text us. Text us at AVP1 if you believe Holly McPeak, the present dig leader on the AVP Tour, will actually have the most digs by the end of the season. Or will Rachel Wacholder, Nancy Mason, or Misty May Trainer be your dig leader at the end of 2006? It's AVP 1, 2, 3, or 4 to 25000 to vote for your favorite. The favorite in many's mind, of course, is Holly McPeak because she chases down just about everything. All in all, in her illustrious career, she is a 7-time best defensive player on the beach. Branagh takes it on 2 again. All right, well, Holly McPeak got a few digs there. She did touch the net as she tried to finish, but the defense was there as always.
And Holly made some incredible plays there. One of the dives, you could hear her hit the ground and knock the wind out of her, but she got right back up and tried to put that ball away. The set was right on top of the net, and she just barely touched the net.
Now a veteran who still has the fire. In fact, as much as she will develop into a wonderful broadcaster. We love having her in the booth. She very much dislikes every time she's in the booth with us because it means she's not down on the sand playing in the finals. So she can try to smile, but she does not like it up here. Ooh, Terry Walsh with the hammer. Of course, the same can be said for you, Karchi.
But Holly McPeak probably doesn't like having to face one of those rockets either. That was just a bomb from Carrie Walsh. Doing what she does so well, she often will drop off the net. Her original position is as a blocker, but if she sees that the hitter's going to have any trouble to come off the net, which she did that time, pulled off into defensive position and just blasted it to finish the play with authority.
May Walsh leads 17-13. The presence of Walsh again. This time, Branagh and McPeak overcome.
Well, even when Holly's in trouble, when she gets a set close to net, she doesn't hammer the ball into the block and get roofed. A lot of times she'll just hit the ball softly into the block so she gets another chance to play the ball, and she did it that time. And finally, Nicole was able to put the ball away.
And Walsh had all kinds of room that time.
And Walsh prefers a little higher set. That time we saw something we see almost never on the AVP Tour. Misty May on the first play used her hand, set it overhand, but the second one, both of them gave Walsh enough time that she had 2 good opportunities, 2 good approaches to put the ball away.
Carrie Walsh, 27 years old, same age as Nicole Branagh, who spent the last 3 seasons playing in Europe. The last 3 indoor seasons. She did play on the AVP Tour last year when she was the Rookie of the Season. And May, same spot they found a moment ago, over the top of the block with Holly McPeak covering the wrong side of the court.
Well, the block is designed to take one part of the court, and the digger is designed to take the other part of the court. The offensive player, if they're smart, they go over the block. Here's a great play, how it starts. The idea is to go over the block where the digger isn't. So she just finesses the ball. Not this time, the next time. She'll finesse the ball over the block into the open court, and McPeak is waiting on the angle. That was her area.
And when I say wrong side of the court, she was doing exactly what they had structured defensively, but the offense was able to overcome.
Hey, on her cut, if her arm is low, she's cutting the ball. When she's trying to get up to go over, she's reaching high here. She's setting up from this position. Here we go, right here.
Still long arm.
Oh, look, this time.
Well, Dane is just reminding the players of what they probably already know, but it helps to have somebody else on the sideline telling you what's going on out there as a reminder.
Well, this game 1 was tied at 12, and since that point, Misty May and Carrie Walsh have gone on a 7-2 run. they lead 19-14. As we said at the very top of the show, they have never lost in 2 consecutive AVP Open events. And now they have themselves game point.
Well, Holly thought that there was a touch on the block, and she's arguing with the referee, but the referee's not buying it. Had they touched it on the block, it would have had to go over sooner.
Game point for game 1. Misty May, Carrie Walsh, Carrie to serve. Branagh on 2.
They've had a lot of success with that. They're going to have to probably do that more in the second game should they lose this first game, which kind of seems inevitable.
Appears somewhat imminent at this point.
Yeah, you know, I would bet on May and Walsh, but it's not impossible for a comeback at this point.
I would bet all Karch's money on it. Branagh to serve. And the serve is deep, and that'll do it. 21-15. Game 1 goes to the best combination on the AVP Crocs Tour, the winningest team of all time, and the top team the last 3 years running. Welcome back to the AVP Tour Birmingham Hoover Open, the women's final taking place. We pick up the action a little later in Game 2. You never know, maybe these will be future AVP superstars. Or perhaps they'll be America's Next Idol, because don't forget, American Idol, which of course airs on Fox. The winner, Taylor Hicks from Hoover, Alabama.
I heard he likes volleyball too.
He loves volleyball, he loves Simon, he loves Paula, he loves Randy, and he loves you, Sinja. And he can sing too. McPeak can't run it down. 9-6, May Walsh. Nicole Branagh at Minnesota. 2-time second-team All-American, co-Big Ten Player of the Year. Misty May, she was a national champion at Long Beach State. Considered the greatest setter of all time in college volleyball. Carrie Walsh playing with much more authority here today in the finals than we have seen in the past few events.
Well, she's getting a nice approach. She gets a nice high set, like Karch mentioned earlier. She gets her approach, and she goes up and hammers the ball.
10-6, dangerous territory for Branagh and McPeak, and Branagh finishes on 2.
Nobody does that kind of pass better than Holly McPeak. She's an absolute master at it after having done it for so many years. Ran that type of offense in the 2004 Athens Olympics and gave it perfectly to her partner, Nicole Branagh, to put that ball away.
Of course, she was partnered with Elaine Youngs in those Olympics, finished with the bronze medal, the first female to medal. And then, of course, a little later, the medal, which was gold, went to Misty May and Carrie Walsh. But Holly McPeak, 37, Elaine Young's 36, and 2 of the greatest players still in the world today. And May over the top of Branagh finds the corner and the point. Talking about Holly McPeak's former partner of 3 years, good for 10 AVP titles and an Olympic bronze medal. The always fiery and competitive Elaine Youngs with her 35 career Open wins.
She seems nice and cool
Absolutely.
by the fan there.
Her and Rachel would much rather be sweating it out, though, in the finals. But the reason we get a number 1 against number 3 is not because number 3 beat number 2 along the way, but because, as we mentioned at the top of the show, both these teams lost on their road to the finals, and that messed up the seedings a little bit. 13-7. May Walsh on a 10-3 run. Holly McPeak.
Well, Holly's got to do more of that, find the open court. You know, her attacking hasn't been that good because she's been hitting the tape. But she shoots the ball so well, she might as well go up and shoot the ball more often. The sharp angle, the deep line.
Big serve by Branagh, disappointing finish. 14-8.
Well, Branagh, that was one of the things that they really needed to do, is serve tough to get Walsh and May in trouble, and they really haven't done it this set.
The good news is they are starting to finish in third place. They're starting to finish in second place. They're starting to make the podium on a much more frequent occasion. The bad news is they still can't seem to get by Misty May and Kerry Walsh, and the timeout is called. We will take the timeout with McPeak and Branagh as May Walsh lead game 2, 15-8. You're watching the AVP on FSN. Well, lots happens here in Alabama and beautiful Birmingham. In fact, you're just down the road from Tuscaloosa, home of the Tide, about 90 minutes away from Auburn, where, you know what, Paul Bear Bryant used to love to go in and win. And here in Hoover, which is the 6th largest city in Alabama, we got the best of the beach for you right here on the AVP Crocs Tour. The first time in the history of the sport of beach volleyball that we have had a tournament contested here in the state of Alabama, which makes it the 31st state to host a beach volleyball tournament. Sweet home Alabama, Hoover, Alabama, as the host city this year for the first time for the AVP Crocs Tour. And congratulations to all those from the sports committee here in Birmingham, Alabama, Hoover, Alabama, bringing the AVP Crocs Tour right here to the Deep South. You speak of roll Tide. Here in game 2, all of a sudden, it's roll Misty May and Kerry Walsh. And again, frustration. Both Holly McPeak and Nicole Branagh were caught at the net. In the last 26 tournaments, both domestically and internationally, 19 times May Walsh have reigned supreme. In the other 7, they finished as runner-ups. They seem well on their way to another title here. That would be their 32nd AVP title in 40 AVP events as teammates.
Now, this last point, the set was behind. It's a tougher play, but it was off the net. It gave McPeak room to negotiate the ball around the big block of Walsh. The one before, again, was a little bit tight.
That's something that Branagh does really well. She is a very aggressive blocker. She reminds me of some of the guys on the men's tour like Mike Lambert and Jake Gibb, where she'll make a big blocking move to the left or right. Unlike most of the women blockers, she gets a good touch on that play, and she finishes it really well because of Holly McPeak's great ball control. She can put that ball up close to the net for Branagh to attack.
On to this time by Kerry Walsh.
That's one of the risks that you take when you serve Misty May short. She can run the same McPeak offense to somebody who's so strong offensively, put it to her partner Kerry Walsh, and she could just bury it down the line.
You think so much about the defense and the great defense played by Holly McPeak, and sometimes unfairly, Karch, you forget about how great she controls the ball. That time the good pass gives a perfect set, and McPeak puts it away.
Maybe not a perfect set, but what Holly needs is room, and she has the room on that set. She can see the block, see the court, and negotiate the ball around that block to the open court.
And she talked to Mary Strong about that very thing earlier. Still, it's 17-11. 18-11, and it appears that May Walsh will overcome their loss last night and get the result that they always seem to get so frequently.
I thought McPeak showed some great experience, though, when Mary talked to her as she was coming off the court, bringing some of it onto herself.
Absolutely. And
not saying, well, my partner's putting me too close, but I've got to give her a better pass, and sharing the responsibility of making better plays out there.
Holly McPeak and Jen Kessie, now Jen Boss, were very good last year together. I think Holly McPeak is even enjoying this season that much more because Nicole Branagh is so young and so eager to learn this game on the beach. She truly is the tutor. She is the mentor. It's the veteran and the young stud. And there's the young stud this time, very deep, and that brings us to championship point. May and Walsh trying to win for a 7th time this season. It is game, match, championship point once again. Tried to sneak a shorty in on it.
Well, she did it before, and it worked really well. She went back to the well, and she just missed it.
20-12. Game, match, championship point. And it is all over. Misty May and Carrie Walsh, the first champions ever on the women's side here in Alabama. They have done it again. They win the rematch of Sacramento. They do so in definitive fashion. We'll come back and talk to the champs. The AVP Croc Store Birmingham Hoover Open has been brought to you by Volt, the taste, the quench, the kick. By Crocs, nowhere close to normal. By refreshingly smooth Bud Light, always worth it. And brought to you by AVP.com, where you can get live text voting results and behind-the-scenes interviews with your favorite AVP pros. Take a look at our Xbox 360 play of the match. Big serve by Nicole Branagh, but Misty May and Carrie Walsh played brilliantly throughout. Chasing down loose balls, changing the speed, changing the location of their potential putaways, finding open court. Much to the dismay of Holly McPeak, who played great defense on that point, but committed the net violation. Gatorade Champions interview once again with Misty and Carrie. Here's Mary Strong.
Carrie, I know it was an emotional week for you. 2 losses on tour, but you really redeemed yourself today. Your blocking game was right on. Were you happy with your play today?
I was very happy. You know, I think that we stayed aggressive. I think we stayed patient. And like you said, less emotional. You know, I'm living and dying out here. It doesn't need to be that serious. You know, it is just a game, but it is our job, so I take it very seriously. But I think when I get so riled up, I put Misty in a bad place. And I kind of took a step back. And I think we came back from our loss last night to Jenny and Nettie, and we played very well.
Misty, has it been difficult to stay focused with your hectic travel schedule and not being able to practice together?
I think the practice is the most difficult because, you know, we're out of here tomorrow, Monday. I mean, you have one day and then you got to head back to another tournament. So I think it's very difficult, but at the same time, we have to be very smart. We're traveling so much, and, you know, this is the time you want to still be playing at your best and not getting injured. So we just really got to be smart. But it is very difficult, and we communicate with each other, and you know, we try to do the best that we can with the cards that we're dealt.
It was a great game, ladies. Way to come out and take care of business. Congratulations.
Hi, Goldie, Sinjin,
That's our girl, Carrie Walsh, one of the favorites of everyone who loves the AVP Tour. Game 1 was tied at 12-12 after that point. A 30-15 finish gives Misty May and Carrie Walsh their 7th win of the season. This concludes our coverage of the AVP Croc Store Birmingham Hoover Open. Once again in the women's final, May Walsh sweep Branagh and McPeak. For Mary Strong, Karch Garai, Sinjin Smith, Mike Gilbert saying so long from Birmingham, Hoover, Alabama.